and he has been a Yi extraordinaire. He actually built a pretty good baseline list, I think, for Master Yi. It runs Ruin Runner. It has Trinity Force since you're holding so much anyways. It kind of just follows that game plan. So I'd be interested to see if this Yi is going to bring out similar cards to the list because I do know that Ruin Runner is great into purple. It might be in the sideboard even. There's just so many different ways you can build Yi now with all these new cards from Spiritforge. I'm just, yeah, I'm kind of geeking out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, there's a lot of new cards, and I think we're about ready to go if I've just had production correctly. So, are we ready? I'm
I
excited.
think we're as ready as we'll ever be. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for sure, so
Looks like we
righty.
are jumping into game, and we do have Mashallah on the Ezreal, and we do have Kiyomi on the Yi, and off to a very, very fast start here with a treasure hunter coming down almost immediately.
Yeah, look, I think if you're playing Ezreal, this is the ideal start. I think you really want to get this treasure hunter out as fast as possible. You want to try and overtake that Ravenbloom Conservatorium because that way you can start drawing your spells, start removing a lot of these really heavy tools that Yi has available to him. With just cards like Singularity, Frigid Touch, and what is it, Rebuke, Fight or Flight. Ezreal has so many tools available to him, so I'd like to see him play towards that. And instead, it looks like he's just going to go for the fortified position. Just kind of keep that Yi off of as much power, or might rather, as possible, and just keep that Yi kind of contained, if you will.
Yeah, it looks like the battlefield of choice for the Ezreal would be the Ravenbloom Conservatory. So when you defend here, reveal the top card of your main deck. If it's a spell, which, let's be honest, most of Ezreal is going to be a spell, put it in your hand. So it's almost like a free vision and card draw for the Ez. And then on the side of the Yi, you've got this fortified position, which is a +2 shield. And already we see the Ezreal taking advantage of that. But the Trinity Force coming down, that's going to buff that Yordle up. +2, and when I hold score 1 point, that is a real big synergy with that fortified position. But we do see the Stupefy coming in. That should balance it out. And a Defy from the Yi. He is going to hold on to this battlefield all game now. That's going to be a tough position to break. Technically, that Yordle's a 9 might, if I've done my math correct, in that
Yeah, it's
position.
got essentially Shield 5 right now through the Yi passive plus uh the battlefield itself. And I mean, losing that Stupefy definitely hurts a lot here. He is going to be at least able to develop himself a seal using that treasure, so he's going to be able to get repeated use of this power. But he's definitely on the back foot now. I mean, he's already going to be at 3 points. I think it's going to be at 5 points before he's really able to answer what's going on. And unless he finds a fight or flight here in these next couple of turns, this Trinity Force is going to take over the game.
Yeah, Trinity Force with the fortified position and the shield on the Poro, that is a horrible position to be in as Ezreal. You're exactly right there. We do have access to purple cards. Purple cards like to move things, and we might be seeing that now with a couple of runes drawn. Well, no, just playing the other Ezreal. Okay, so we've got two Ezreals on board.
Yeah, I don't mind this play at all. I mean, he very clearly is looking for that answer, isn't able to find it, so just kind of throws away a couple of cards that aren't very useful right now in that Wages of Pain and Arcane Shift, just to be able to find something a little bit better than what he's got going on right now. And hopefully he does find it because, like I said, I mean, if he doesn't, this Trinity Force is just taking over the game.
Yeah, exactly. With cards like late game into Yi, like Dead Bloom as well, and it could be a little bit scary. We do see a new card landing on the board, which is the Navori Scout. Just a little deflect unit, but it does have 4 might.
Yeah, I think the reason why people are kind of I've seen this a lot actually online on X. I was gonna say the Twitters, but anyways, the point is that I think people have kind of come to realize that it's just a very efficient unit. It's not the best unit, it's not the worst unit. It's a 4 might for 4. It has deflect, but the best part about it is that it doesn't cost any power. So in Yi, you're just kind of like, oh, I need efficient units. This is great. It's not quite as efficient as Fewer Peerless. However, it does have that deflect, which I think kind of almost mitigates what's going on here. And I'm not really sure how he managed to go up to his third point there. Was that a hold, or did the Yi forget his hold?
I would imagine that the Yi forgot the hold, so he would have just grabbed that at the end. It is a competitive tournament, and there are stakes, but sometimes you just kind of like, oh yeah, you forgot your point. You should have a point. There's no point calling a judge, etc. You know, we might get people like that, but these players seem very, very friendly. We do see the Yi digging with that called shot, and now we see the Fizz come down. I can only imagine he's going to grab possibly the Flicker in the Arcane Shift. What would you replay? Oh, you're going to replay the Yordle. Okay, Yordle. I keep calling it Yordle. It's a Poro. My apologies, chat. It's a Poro.
I actually love this a lot here. Manages to find himself a Fizz, which means that this Fizz is going to be able to play the Arcane Shift from the graveyard, which then allows you to replay a unit. So you replay that Fizz, and then are able to get your another spell from your graveyard, and that is that Wages of Pain. So able to deal 6 damage for 3 energy on this following turn here, and it is also able to trigger this Ezreal. So they'll be able to draw a card, refuel the hand, and deny that Trinity Force stacking that has been really just kind of creating a huge pressure point for this Ezreal player.
Yeah, exactly right. We do see a Last Rites coming down. He might equip it to the Ezreal. It has really good synergy. So when I conquer or hold, you may play a unit from your trash. That just allows him to re-grab those cheap units like the Fizz, replay those Wages of Pain, and absolutely cause havoc across this Yi battlefield. Yi is really good, and his units are really good if you're holding and defending against normal combat, but it doesn't have a lot of answers to just pure removal. And luckily for Mashallah here, Ezreal has a lot of removal.
Yeah, Ezreal kind of his whole kit is just revolved around removal here. So I'm actually surprised that he didn't activate the Ezreal with the Arcane Shift plus that Wages of Pain. I would have liked to have seen him draw an additional card there. Not sure. I guess maybe just a little confused. But instead, let's focus on what's going on with this E here. Instead, he's actually not going to go on to that fortified position. Is a little bit afraid of Stupefy. I guess he doesn't quite have the answers as of yet. So instead, just going to drop down a Zonia's Hourglass. And maybe just looking up to set up a couple of future turns here. He is at 6 runes, so he's kind of struggling a little bit to get to that 8-10 threshold that he really likes to be at. And might even have to recycle an additional rune here just to draw that card with that Clockwork Keeper.
Yeah, I think you might want to start doing that very soon, just because like Yi with 2 cards in hand is not a great place to be. But right now he does have a 4 might unit with the Trinity Force and the Yi bonus. That's 8 might if he wants to swing into it. And if he doesn't get rid of it, the Trinity Force allows you to score an extra point on hold. So you don't even need both battlefields to score 2 points a turn anymore. Spiritforged just changed the way this whole game rotates. It's crazy right now.
Yeah, I think Trinity Force is one of the best inclusions for Yi, just because, he wants to defend, which means he wants to hold, and Trinity Force says, hey, how about extra points for holding? And then I feel like it really shifted the dynamic and made Yi into a much faster deck than it was supposed to be. So maybe Yi isn't even on the Dead Bloom Predators right now. In practice, I've definitely felt like Dead Bloom has lost a lot of its value in the Yi deck specifically, simply because like you could see right here, struggling to get to that 8-10 rune threshold, just because you don't really have a lot of access to gold tokens.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Like these absolute staples that you'd expect to see throughout the next like 9 sets might be falling out of favor because of all the new cards that are coming in. And hopefully, as we were discussing before the cast started, like we like to see this creativity of these new decks, these new options coming in. We were very much locked in with the Origin set. There were like 30 cards in a deck that just had to be there. And now it's looking like, there's ones and there's little spicy splashes of cards going on here. And I hope to see more of it as the set progresses. I hope to see more of it as this tournament progresses, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you wholeheartedly here. Look, I think Ravenbloom Conservatory is definitely one of those new and interesting cards. And I think right now, Mashallah is trying to figure out how he's supposed to get around this 8 might unit effectively. And the fact that he has to pay deflect every time he wants to interact with this Nefarious Scout feels incredibly painful.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. I mean, there's a few ways Ez can sort of take this battlefield, but the best way is to use that purple splash that he has, push it back to base, move it, move your units. But if he leaves it there, it's gaining 2 points every single turn. And we all know he's got some, and then we see the fight flight coming in. This is exactly what we said to do. Push it back, retake it cheaply, and pray you can hold against whatever big scary unit he is about to drop next turn.
Yeah, look, this is not the situation you want to be in if you are this E player. The Ezreal's already at 6 points. He's got both of the battlefields at hand, and you only have 2 cards in 2 units. It's going to be very difficult to overtake what's going on here. Now, that said, if the Ezreal did not have that fight or flight, which very clearly he's been digging for all game, um, Kiyomi would be at 6 points on this turn, which means that he would only have to have held for 1 additional turn. But now it's potentially 3 turns, in fact, before he's actually going to be able to find something or find a way to win this game. And so, I mean, right now, I feel like the ball is in Mashallah's court wholeheartedly.
Yeah, he's going to have to play some pretty big cards and be able to hold. And if any deck can do it, it is Yi. He still does have that scout on field. Obviously, when it attacks, it will only have 6 might rather than the 8 from the holding. But that's still 6 might. That's nothing to be snuffed at. And he does go into the fortified position. So he will more than likely secure this. We do see 4 runes up for the Ezreal. Does he have anything that he could use? Possibly a rebuke, possibly another fight or flight. That could completely scarper the Yi's plans here. We'll see if he decides to play anything or if he's just going to hold back, knowing he can probably get 2 points next turn.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see if he has something like a Dead Bloom Predator here, right? Because right now, on the start of this turn, Ezreal is going to be at 7 points, which means that he only has to break one of these battlefields. So he has to hold up pretty much all of his runes right now, just to at least try and feign the ability that he has enough interaction to stave off the aggression that this Ezreal is able to put out. And right now, it just feels like he doesn't.
Yeah, do you know what? When I first saw Ezreal, I was like, oh, this is clearly like a control-y deck. It's designed to kind of like bring things back from the trash, lots of little spell damage interactions, lots of moving units around. This seems like a very aggro list, and it seems to be really working for him. We do see the charm come down, so the point was grabbed. He's going to charm the Fizz across to the fortified position, so that's going to be a very big challenge for Fizz to overcome. He does kill a couple of runes, and he's tapped a couple of runes, but he hasn't spent them. 2 purple runes go down and recycle 2. This might just be the rebuke. With the deflect, that's an expensive rebuke, my friend. That is an expensive rebuke.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is now he gets an extra point. He goes to 7, and now he has to break this Fizz right here, right now, or this game is just over. He will win with the hold effect because of this rebuke here. That charm was incredibly risky here, especially with the fact that we knew that this Ezreal player was on readied for runes. He was waiting for this moment, finds the moment, and I mean, I think this is just that game-winning play that he was looking for.
Yeah, we do see the Yi come in from the champion zone, equips the Trinity Force, moves straight over, and that Fizz did not stand a chance. That is Fizz mid lane with a fed Yi coming right out of the bush there. There's nothing you could possibly do.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for him because now this means that all of his runes are fully exhausted, and now Mashallah on this Ezreal, 3 units in play, a last right in play as well, is going to be able to do a lot here. While only 5 runes available, he does have still 2 power to work with as well, and it looks like it's going to be a Fizz, very likely going to be either a fight or flight or that rebuke. And yeah, there's that fight or flight, and I feel like this is game right here, right now because of it.
Yeah, that Yi was technically 12 might on that fortified position with the +2 shield. And Ezreal just says, well, here's 2 runes, I get game, thank you very much. And we do see game 1 going to Ezreal in quite a commanding fashion. Magic was the only choice as little nerdy me growing up. That is all we got to play. And now look at all these options that we have.
Oh man, yeah. No, I started with Magic at like 7, then Pokemon had come out, and then got all the way into Yu-Gi-Oh somehow, and I've been playing card games my whole life, man. I love this stuff. So yeah, I'm glad you understand the reference here. And yeah, I want to see this Yi have that same start in that Poro, in that Trinity Forest. But I'd like to see him play a little bit more protective. Hopefully, find something like an On Guard or a couple of disciplines to make sure that he can stay out of those range thresholds that the Ezreal was able to, I guess, take advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Yi and I just saw that game happen the way I did, I am 100% making sure I have 3 defies, I have wind walls, I have all these things to stop these fight or flights pushing back. Anything that moves my units away from those battlefields is going to be a problem for this matchup, and Ezreal has access to a lot of them. Just on the note of the battlefields, we do see Treasure Hoard from Ezreal here, so when you conquer here, yeah, you can pay 1 to get a gold token. So that eliminates some of those power costs that Ezreal runs into. And then the classic Yi, Grover the Godwillow. And we already seen how big those Yi units can get with this gear token. So these are really good matchup battlefields. And we'll see if the Ez can repeat his performance, or we go to a close game 3. Card Sharp coming down for the Ezreal as well. Interesting choice.
Yeah, Card Sharp has actually been a surprisingly great card. You don't think that giving your opponent a gold token is that useful, but the fact that you get 2 gold tokens and a 3 might unit has been just an absolute house for me. I've managed to find a way to put it into nearly all of my blue decks, at least 1 or 2 copies of it. So it's felt really strong. And I mean, the fact that he has a unit and then he is just forced to drop down 2 gears as opposed to any unit at all has felt pretty bad here. Looks like he's going to drop down a Ruin Runner. And I mean, with a Trinity Force and a GA, it's going to be pretty much impossible to break this hold as soon as it's met.
Yeah, this is kind of one of the things obviously we're saying about the side deck. Like, do you go for defies and do you go for, wind walls? Or do you just go for the unit that can't be targeted by spells? Put it on Grover the Godwillow with 2 bits of crazy big equipment, get 2 points every turn, and force Ezreal to smash as much might of it as he possibly can. Can Ezreal's units even get that big without spells? I don't know.
Yeah, look, this Rune Runner is already proving to be a huge threat. And I think it's going to be one of the main points of this game here. I think if this Rune Runner finds its way into the graveyard here, that also means that this Yi is going to find his way into a loss. I think this Rune Runner is the main point of this game. And as long as Yi finds a way to keep this Rune Runner alive and healthy, he's going to take it.
Yeah, I mean, how do you deal with this as blue purple? Like, your main thing is like, I don't want to fight you. I just don't. I want your units to move away from me. And this unit can't be targeted by spells. It has the Trinity Force on it. So when I hold, I earn an extra point. You gain an extra card from Grover the Godwillow. Yi is going full value here. Then all you need to do is play 1 more big unit, cough cough, Dead Bloom or Yi out of his champion zone. Take the other battlefield for a turn, and all of a sudden Ezreal is chasing very hard to catch up.
Yeah, look, so the other thing here is that, look, Kiyomi is going to be able to go to 1 point here if he decides. Ezreal can do nothing about it. And then next turn, he'll very likely be able to get to that 3rd point. And then he'll be at 5 points, 7 points, and that will be the turn that the game ends. So the game right now, if everything goes as regularly scheduled, will end in 3 turns. This Trinity Force puts a huge clock, and I don't think people realize just how effective of a card it is.
Yeah, that is an insane card in Yi. This unit right now is sitting at 10 might if it gets attacked into, and it has a Guardian Angel. So, by the way, it just comes back next turn, and you're drawing an extra card from Grover the Godwillow and scoring an extra point. Ezreal is going to have to find some interesting answers from this hand.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that Ezreal is going to figure out a way to get around this is he has to have Thousand Tail Watcher in his list. He has to be
Mm.
running it right now. And another Guardian Angel is going to find its way onto the board here. 5 runes available as well. I just don't see you breaking this hold anytime soon. I think right now, if you're Ezreal, you got to kind of build up your army a little bit, play a little patient, hopefully don't get hit by a charm, and then find a way, with this Thousand Tail Watcher to break the hold that this Rune Runner's created.
Yeah, that could be the way to do it. Is take a turn or two. You are on a 3-turn clock. Let's not sort of dance around that issue, but let's take a turn, maybe 2, build up something impressive here, like use Fizz to grab some sort of cold shots from the graveyard to cycle through that deck, look for those answers. There must be an answer in there somewhere, and if there's a card to do it, it's cold shot and stack deck. That is the way to do this.
Yeah, Call Shot is this card feels degenerate in Ezreal. I mean, the fact that you're running the purple Ezreal from your command zone means that you always have access to that effect, which means that the Call Shot only ever costs 1 power for you. And I mean, look at 4 cards, pick 2 of them, put the other 2 on the bottom is absurd for 0 energy. I look how full his hand is.
Yeah, we've got 8 cards in hand, 7 now. He's played a student, but yeah, that many cards in hand for a blue purple player is money in my eyes. But Yi seems to have a commanding grip on this game. He does go to 3 points thanks to that Trinity Force, as we mentioned, and there is some scary threats that can come down from green orange at 9 power here. That's some scary threats that can land on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and the other thing here is we talked about punch first. We haven't seen Yi drop a punch first yet. He's sitting at 6 cards in hand. You have to expect that one of those is a punch first, which means that Ezreal now also has to figure out, this is a 15 might unit right now. How do I break a hold on a 15 might unit? That is a big ask.
That is a question that is going to haunt this Ezreal player, I feel, in this game. But even if he doesn't run punch first, do you actually need it in this deck? I mean, it's an obscene card, but your units are already sitting on like 10, 12 might naturally with the Yi passive. Do you need that +5? I don't know. Maybe we'll see it.
Look, it's not a matter of need so much as it's a big fist, and I'm gonna punch first.
It's not a bad answer to almost everything in this game can do. And like, I play Set in set 1, and having a card like punch first on a Set, I can't wait for Spiritforged, honestly.
Man, that's actually one of the decks that I've been surprised hasn't been seeing much attention in terms of like online percolations of deck builders and stuff like that. No sets have been what do you call it? Percolating?
Showing up. Yeah, they're not really showing up in these tournaments just yet. But we all know the Chinese meta is very different from the Western meta. So maybe, that Vegas Invitational, there's going to be best of prizing. We're going to see some pretty creative decks, I imagine, around Spiritforged.
Yeah. What deck I did see, and I actually ended up losing to it because I was playing a weird aggro Ornn list that I posted online. Garen. I lost to Garen.
Look, anyone's got a puncher's chance in today's meta, I'm telling you. Even more within Spiritforged. The Ezreal does play down a Vex. Now, this is a champion that we see kind of like 1s and 2s dropping into these purple decks. So basically, while I'm in combat, friendly spells cost 1 rune and 1 power less to a minimum of 1. Enemy spells cost 1 and 1 power more. So it does get an interesting dynamic. But as we know, that Ruin Runner can't be chosen by enemy spells and abilities. So the Vex is kind of just as a power body there, I guess, as a might body, 5 might.
That and the fact that it does make your opponent's spells cost 1 and 1 power more. Side note though, Kiyomi should now be at 7 points. He did not give himself points last turn, so he should be at 7 right now. Or am I missing something?
No, I think he was on 3 and then he's got +2. I think that's right. But I'm sure
yeah. My brain's melting.
will correct themselves if there is an issue. Obviously, we don't really get involved in those sort of decisions. It's up to the players and the judges to figure that out. But
Yep.
I think that is correct for now. But Yi sitting on 10 runes, has his Yi in the champion zone, has 8 cards in hands, and is potentially going to score another point this round and then gain for the next one. Ezreal's in a really tough situation. He does have a lot of runes up, so he can potentially stop the conquer on that second battlefield. But that rune runner has sat there all game. He's camping that battleground, and he's not going to give it up.
Look, this honestly, this rune runner just reminds me of life in the top lane when playing Kale, right? You could be under your tier 2 turret, you could be level 1, you're still gonna get camped by that jungler, and that's the rune runner right now.
Yeah, exactly. Rune runner's sitting there, 2 completed items, Trinity Force. Like, come at me. I'll 4v1 you right now. You know, no one's touching me. That top lane is absolutely mine, and Yi is holding on to that with an iron grip. He is not going to let that one go anytime soon.
Yeah, and it looks like you're actually spot on here in terms of the predictions of what the opponent or what this E player would be doing. Actually, it's 8 instead going to be exhausted. So I have to assume that it's potentially, oh, it's not going to be the Dead Bloom. Instead, it's going to be that Hasty Feyfolk. So
Yeah,
very
it's
likely going
absolute
to,
staple card.
oh, Frigid Touch going to be the response, but he does have to exhaust at least one more rune, unless he tapped 3. I can't. Okay, Defy. Anyways, now this is going to be, I think, not necessarily what you want to be doing, because now that you've exhausted all of your energy, this rune runner is fairly exposed. You know, there's 3, 6, 10, 15 might already in terms of units that are ready and willing to overtake that Grove of the God Willow, and the fact you have no more runes available is going to make it very difficult to stop that from happening.
Yeah, I would have preferred, like, obviously, you know, the Yi player to just hold kind of like 6 runes and go, come at me, knowing there's disciplines, knowing there's defies, knowing there's the possibility of that punch first. Like, how could you possibly attack into that battlefield as Ezreal? One card comes down, and that's it. You know, game over, basically. You've lost your entire board for nothing. But Yi kind of showing his hand a little bit here, wanting to capture that battlefield, get that 6th point, and then go, right, come at me. You've got to come at me now. I think this Tasty Facefolk may have been a mistake, in all honesty. He does manage to get the capture, but as you said, is 1 rune up. I know there's a punch first with 1 rune, but is it in his hand? That's the main question right now.
Well, I mean, he's not even going to be able to play it because this Vex is in hand.
Very true.
Or in
Wow.
play, not in hand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, when it enters that battle, he can't afford to play the punch first. Yi's kind of let himself down here a little bit, I think. I think he might have. Oh, he's just moved it back. He knows it's going to die. He's moved it back.
Yeah, I like this adaptation here. I think he realized he kind of overplayed his hand a little bit here. Decides, look, I already made the mistake. The best thing I can do is mitigate this mistake. I'm going to bring this rune runner back, hopefully be able to overtake both of these battlefields on this next turn. He does have still access to that Yi, potentially even a Dead Bloom Predator as well. So he's not in the worst place ever. Definitely not feeling good about this last turn, I'd say, personally.
Yeah, it's a little bit less kind of like, oh, Yi just holds and win now. There's gonna have to be some play around. Ezreal has a lot of resources. He has all 12 runes ready. He has a board full of units. He has a handful of cards. And the first thing he does is claim the Grove of the God Willow. There's not much that Yi can do about that in this situation. There is still essentially an 8 might unit on the other battlefield, but there's no runes up, there's no combat tricks that can be played. So Ezreal knows exactly how to play in the most efficient way here, and then all he has to do is hold 1 battlefield. Don't get me wrong, that is challenging, but with 7 cards in hand and 12 runes up, as a purple and blue unit or a legend, you should be able to hold 1 battlefield with combat tricks.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you here. Look, the fact that he has access to this last right as well, just as a free, essentially combat trick in this situation, +2 stats, just makes it so that he doesn't even have to commit any further to the battlefield. He could send the Fizz and the 2 Raven Bloom students and feel completely fine about this here because he has that last right to attach it to. Instead, just going to opt to use the Vex. It is an 8 might unit, which means that unless this Vex is able to get over this Tasty Feyfolk, he's going to trade the Vex into the Tasty Feyfolk, which I'm not necessarily sure I agree with here. So, yeah, just going to do the minimum that he can, send all of his guys. And yeah, we'll have to see how this player decides to handle it.
Yeah, so he goes all in with all of his guys. Obviously, the last right say, you know, when I conquer a hold. So as long as that Vex survives, he gets to play a unit from his trash. There are no units in his trash right now, but if he resolves the effect after something goes in his trash from here, I'm pretty sure that you can get like an Ezreal or a Raven Bloom or a Fizz straight back. I'm pretty sure that's how it was resolved in my brain, but you know, we're casters, not players in this situation, so I'll leave it up to them.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're Yi, the Treasure Hunter obviously is not the most convincing threat. The most convincing threat for me right now is the fact that there's 12 readied runes.
Yeah.
What are you most afraid of here to see if you are this Yi player?
It's hard. Like fight or flight onto one of your units just goes away. That's it. You can't possibly capture. He does have the Yi in his champion zone that can come out. He does have that Ruin Runner, but the Yi does not have protection from spells. So if I'm Yi right now, I want to see Defies in my hand. I can't be dealing with a pushback, with a fight or flight or a rebuke or anything like that. I need to see Defies and Wind Walls, but he's only going to have 10 runes. So one Wind Wall and the game's over, really.
Yeah. All right. Well, it sounds like Windwall has to be the choice here. Yeah, I mean, there is hard bargain, but I do think a lot of these blue players have been taking these cards out of their list simply because it just doesn't feel great. This Frigid Touch, however, is kind of insane right now, as it actually does only cost 2. It's essentially a smoke screen that immediately triggers the Ezreal and costs 0 power because of this Vex and this Ezreal. So the Tasty Faithful just going to trade with the Ezreal, going to allow him to at least draw a card and find a couple of runes here, allow him to be at that 12 rune threshold that he very clearly needs to be at on this following turn, because otherwise there's just too much pressure.
Yeah, I'm just sort of seeing where this game state is done. So yeah, it looks like he's hidden a card at the end of his turn. Yi sort of from the death of the Tasty Feyfolk got to channel 2 runes exhausted, so he is going to go to 12. That hidden card, I'm gonna assume, is a fight or flight. That is my best guess on this hidden card right now. It could be the draw too, but I don't think he's running that. That would be my guess, my best guess. So Yi has 12 runes, 1 unit on board that can't be targeted by spells, and a lot of might battlefield to deal with right now. This is Yi's turn. He has got to figure out this puzzle. Otherwise, it is a 2-0 to the Ezreal player.
So as long as he has a Defy, I think he's in a great place. There's only 2 more runes available for Ezreal, which tells me that this Ezreal doesn't have a lot of interaction. So hopefully the Sea kind of recognizes this fact, says, look, if I'm holding both battlefields, I'm at 7 points. I only need to hold one of these battlefields. I think I'd rather be at 12 runes if I have all this interaction. So he used his Frigid Touch. That was a huge piece of interaction that I think he had available to him. But because of this Rune Runner and a lot of these other deflect units, I think he just kind of recognizes, like, look, I'm not going to have much interaction. It's really just going to be fight or flight, and that's the only thing that's going to protect me here.
Yeah, I mean, he has 14 might at the Treasure Hoard, and he has 8 might at the Grove of the God Willow. That's not an easy puzzle to solve as Yi, with only, you know, the 8 might Rune Runner as it stands at the moment. He does have a Guardian Angel that can go to 9 might, so he could potentially take that right-hand battlefield with just the units he has on board. But then he's got to deal with 15 might at the Treasure Hoard, and we see a lot of thumbs up going. So is that going to be GG game? Thank you very much. I think it is.
It looks like that is going to be the case here. That is unfortunate. It is unfortunate that the Yi never really kind of found his footing there. I think it really does come back to that turn where he developed that tasty faithful. I think just that one turn too soon. I think if he just left those runes available, kind of threatened that he had that capability to fight, that it might have just threatened that Ezreal off and forced the Ezreal to kind of wait just that one more turn.